Imagine walking into a cathedral so tall that the ceiling seems to vanish into the heavens. Sunlight pours through enormous stained glass windows, painting the stone walls with dazzling colors. You feel small, almost weightless, in a space designed to lift your eyes and your spirit toward the sky. This is the world of Gothic art, a revolutionary style born in 12th century France. But what made these structures so extraordinary? And how did they rise from the heavy, earthbound buildings of their Romanesque predecessors? Let's embark on a journey into the heights of Gothic architecture, where engineering met artistry to touch the divine. The story of Gothic art begins around 1140 in the Ile-de-France region of northern France. The Romanesque style of the time favored thick walls, small windows, and low ceilings, creating dim and fortress-like churches. But Abbot Suger of the Abbey of Saint-Denis had a vision. He believed that more light in a church symbolized the presence of God, and he wanted his abbey to reflect this divine illumination. To achieve this, architects experimented with new structural elements, and thus Gothic architecture was born. The Abbey of Saint-Denis became the prototype, sparking a movement that would redefine European skylines for centuries. One of the defining features of Gothic architecture is the pointed arch. Unlike the round arches of Romanesque buildings, pointed arches distribute weight more efficiently, allowing for taller and more slender structures. This simple innovation gave architects greater flexibility in design. Churches could now reach skyward without the crushing pressure of weight dragging them down. Think of it like balancing a tent pole. The sharper the angle, the easier it stands. These pointed arches open the door, literally and metaphorically, to grander, more majestic designs. Alongside pointed arches came another marvel: ribbed vaults. Picture the intersecting ribs of a spider's web, crisscrossing the ceiling of a cathedral. These ribs channel the building's weight down into the supporting columns, making the walls less crucial for holding everything up. This breakthrough allowed architects to insert larger windows and reduce wall thickness. Ribbed vaults not only added structural strength, but also became intricate patterns, embellishing ceilings with geometric grace. They turned the once simple task of supporting a roof into an artistic endeavor. But how did Gothic architects manage to build walls with so many windows without everything collapsing? Enter the flying buttress, an external support structure that resembles a giant stone arm reaching out from the building. These buttresses counterbalance the weight of the soaring ceilings and the pressure exerted by the arches. By moving support outside, Gothic architects could construct walls that were essentially frameworks of glass. The result? Buildings that looked like they were defying gravity, with interiors bathed in heavenly light. Light was more than just a practical concern, it was a spiritual symbol. Gothic cathedrals used vast stained glass windows to transform sunlight into ethereal hues. These windows told biblical stories, depicted saints, and inspired awe. When sunlight streamed through them, it wasn't just illumination, it was divine revelation. The colors danced on the floors and walls, creating a sensory experience that made the church feel alive. Imagine the wonder of a medieval worshiper stepping into this kaleidoscope of light, a taste of heaven on earth. Gothic architecture pushed buildings higher than ever before. Structures like Chartres Cathedral and Notre-Dame de Paris soared to astonishing heights, emphasizing verticality. Every line, arch, and window drew the eye upward, reinforcing the idea of transcendence. The architecture itself became a metaphor for spiritual ascent. To stand in a Gothic cathedral was to feel that you were part of something grander, your feet on the ground, but your spirit reaching for the stars. Gothic art wasn't limited to architecture. Sculptures adorned every surface, telling stories in stone. Gargoyles leered from rooftops, serving as both rainspouts and protectors. Statues of saints, angels, and biblical figures populated doorways and facades, educating illiterate worshippers through visual storytelling. These sculptures weren't just decorations, they were sermons in stone, a way to communicate complex theological ideas in an era before widespread literacy. Even the smallest details carried meaning and purpose. Gothic cathedrals weren't just places of worship, they were community symbols. They represented the power and wealth of the city that built them, often taking decades or even centuries to complete. Entire towns contributed to their construction, from masons and glassmakers to artists and laborers. Cathedrals like Notre-Dame, Reims, and Amiens became landmarks of civic pride. They were, and still are, testaments to human ingenuity, faith, and the collective will to create something timeless. The Gothic style spread across Europe, leaving a legacy that still inspires awe. Even today, these soaring cathedrals remind us of a time when art and engineering fused to reach for the divine. Their innovations, pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and flying buttresses, paved the way for future architectural marvels. When we look at modern skyscrapers, we can see echoes of the Gothic desire to build higher, brighter, and more ambitiously. So, the next time you see a Gothic cathedral, take a moment to appreciate not just the stones and glass, but the dreams, faith, and ingenuity that lifted them toward the sky.